When creating a page object model, I prefer to start with the base page. The purpose of a base page is to have a class with common actions that can be used across different page objects. Recall from the introduction, a page object is a class with variables and methods. The variables define elements of the page, while methods are implemented as interactions with those elements. In this video, I will demo step by step how to create a base page and how to create two page objects. The page objects will be login page and products page. My plan is to explain each concept and not just show you the concepts. If you're interested in more videos, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel and click the bell icon. You can also follow me on Twitter, connect me on LinkedIn and Facebook. After this video, I will create a transcript and place the transcript and code on GitHub. Here's the layout of our page object model. We have two folders, one for pages and one for tests. The base page and page objects are placed in the com.saucedemo.pages folder. Then I place the base test and test scripts in the com.saucedemo.test folder. The URL of our application is saucedemo.com. Let's start the page object model with an abstraction page base page class. Public abstract class base page. Abstract classes cannot be instantiated. Therefore, I am making the base page abstract so an object is not created from this class. With inheritance, the role of this base page is to operate as a parent class, and each page class operates as the child class. Since the base page is a parent class, it should contain class members that's also available on other pages in our application. Some variables that's available on other pages are page URL, page title, and an object that waits for an element. When it comes to the driver, protected, web driver, we can take more than one approach, at least 3 approaches. One approach we can take is inheriting WebDriver throughout all of our page classes, from the beginning of our page class to the end of our page class. Then instantiate the object in our base test. The second approach is to declare WebDriver as public static and make sure the driver always retains the last reference. Then add an if statement to check if the driver is null. The first 2 approaches is better for the drop principle. However, in this session, I am going with a different approach and create a constructor, then pass in WebDriver as an argument. Public base page. WebDriver. This dot driver equals driver. The driver will be used to access the browser and locate elements. Find element is the Selenium method we use to locate elements. So let's write protected web element find by locator. Return driver.findElement locator. This will be the only place in my page object model that you will see driver.findElement. I will never write it again. We can reuse this find method in our base page and all of our page classes. Type in data and clicking an element or more generic methods that is common to all pages in our class. So let's write protected void type string text by locator. We pass in string for the data our test script will type. The by locator is a parameter for locating an element. Look how the previous method reduces code duplication. I will not rewrite driver.findElement, but only write find locator dot clear. If there is data in a field, then clear the data and write find locator dot send keys text. That's smooth, and that's all we write to type data. I will use the same process for the next method. The next method is protected. Void click by locator. Find locator dot click. That's all we need to click an element. This same click method will click a button, click a link, and click any other elements that can be clicked on the web page. Let's write one more method. How about we check if an element is displayed? Protected Boolean is displayed by locator. Return find locator dot is displayed. Know what? Let's wrap this return statement in a try catch block. Try and paste the statement. Catch no such element exception exe and return false. If an element is not on a page, then our code will catch the no such element exception and return false. I added Boolean as the return type because if displayed returns true or false. These other two methods have void as the return type because they do not return a value. The find method has a web element as the return type because find element returns a web element. The objective of this base page is to allow all of the page classes to inherit the base variables and methods. Next is the login page. For convention, it is best to have a class name that represents a page in our application. That's why I have login page as the class name. In the application, we have some elements on the login page. A username field, password field, login button, and error message. Our page class will have properties. We can also say fields to represent these four elements. The login page extends our base page. And thanks to inheritance, we see the methods created in the base page. Is displayed, click, type, and find. Those four methods will perform actions on the private by username field, private by password field, private by login button, and private by error message. With encapsulation, the fields are private, so only methods in this login page class have access to the fields. Remember, by is a class for locating elements, and the values are going to be locators for each element. Let's go back to the application and get their values. Right click, inspect username. We see the form tag has username, password, and login button. All of the elements have an ID attribute. Username has a value of user-name. Okay, cool. Password has a value of password. The login button has a value of login-button. Inspect the error message. And it does not contain an ID attribute, but the closest ID is located in the parent tag. Let's use CSS selector for the error message. Control F and write hashtag login underscore button underscore container space H3. Bingo. 1 of 1. Copy the value. You can watch my playlist, Customize XPath and CSS values if you would like to see how I created this value. The value for username is equals by dot, and we see the Selenium locators. Class name, CSS selector, ID, link text, name, partial link text, tag name, and XPath. We're going to use ID, double quotes, user hyphen name. Password equals by dot ID, double quotes, password. Login button, by dot ID, double quotes, login hyphen button. Error message is by dot CSS selector. Paste the value. The constructor is public login page web driver super driver. We are calling super, then passing in the driver to load the constructor from our base page. The constructor is created to bring in the web driver so the driver can access the browser. We have our constructor and fields. Now let's work on the methods, which will perform actions on these fields. There are 4 types of methods we can use in our page object model. We can have getter and setter methods that comes with encapsulation. Also, we have transition methods and convenience methods. The convenience methods can also be called helper methods. The getter methods get the states of our application, and setter methods helps us to create a test that interacts with our application. A transition method is important when our application changes to a different page. It may change when we click a button or click a link. A convenience method is created when combining more than one method into a single method. I'm going to demo all 4. First, we are going to use the setter method by setting the username public void set user name string username. Type the username in the username field. Type came from the base page. Username is the parameter, and username field is the property variable. That's all we type for the username. Finish, done deal. Same with password. We write public void set password string password. Type password in the password field. Next is the transition method, public products page. Click login button. Do you see why it's called a transition method? We are going to set the username, set the password, and click the login button. Then the login page transitions to the products page. We click login button. Return new products page. Pass in the driver. In this scenario, we return the page we transitioned to and not use the keyword void, but we use products page. An error shows up because we have a constructor that's needed in the products page. So we go to products page to extend our base page. If I can type it right, the constructor is public products page, web driver, super driver. Save, go back to the login page, and now the error goes away. Let's create a convenience method so our test has an opportunity to call one method for logging into the application. We're going to set the username, set the password, and click the login button. This method will be public products page login with string username, string password. Set username, set password. Return, click login button. Someone may wonder, why do we have an individual method for set username, set password, and click login button, plus a convenience method? That convenience method and the three individual methods defeats the purpose of code duplication. You are right, but this is an exception. It's good to have an individual method because your test may have a negative test. For example, you might want to enter a username without a password. Click the login button, then confirm the application returns an error message. Let's add a getter method for the error message. Public string get error message. Return find error message dot get text. We have a string as a return type because the method getText returns a string. We are finished with the page object for login page. Now let's create a page object for the products page. I almost forgot to put in username, password. Go back to Swag Labs and inspect products label. Class is product label. Also inspect the backpack title. And we are going to use the ID item 4 title link. Click the backpack, then inspect the add to cart button. Let's test this class value using CSS selector and write .btn underscore inventory. Bingo. Okay, we got our values. Let's go to the products page class. We already have our constructor. So let's add those 3 properties and their values. Private by product label equals by dot class name product label underscore label. Private by backpack equals by dot ID. I think the value is item underscore 4 underscore title underscore link. Private by add to cart button equal by dot class name btn underscore inventory. I keep spelling that word wrong. There it is. The first method is to check whether products label is displayed. So we write public boolean is product label displayed. Return is displayed. Locator is product label. Next is add backpack. Public add backpack. First, we want to find the backpack. Then click the backpack. After clicking the backpack, we click the add to cart button. We're going to also get the button name after adding the backpack to the cart. So we write public string get button name. Return find add to cart button. Get the text. I have a quote from Simon Stewart, the creator of Selenium WebDriver. It says, if you have WebDriver APIs in your test methods, you are doing it wrong. The WebDriver API commands are methods like click, clear, get text, and is displayed. These commands belong in our page object class and not in our test scripts. However, when it comes to assertions, I prefer to include them in my test scripts. There is not a rule that says assertions belong in our page object class or test scripts, but I think it's best to keep them even-handed, neutral. Here's the difference. In our page object, the assertion will have one outcome, either pass or fail. But in our test script, the assertion has balance, so we can use it for a negative test and a positive test. I have another quote. You probably noticed I did not speak about Page Factory. That's because Simon Stewart, who is also the creator of Page Factory, said Page Factory is not his best work. In a different message, he said the community took the wrong impression with Page Factory. If you want to watch the conference, Selenium, from 2017, he also said some more things about Page Factory. Next, we're going to create a base test, then execute our test using the page object model, and I'll see you in the next session.
Books available in paperback, ebook, and PDF. All Part 1 ebooks and PDF documents are free. Programming books for UFT. Programming books for Java. Here's the Selenium automation book. And TestNG. Subscribe to get notification of future videos. Don't forget to like, comment, and share.